Hi, I'm Carly, and Lou and I wanted to talk today because um, we realized that we often talk about things going on in our lives, and we've been really able to help each other, and we don't know what type of conversations you're having. So we thought we'd do a little series where we're putting stuff that's coming up for us in our lives and whatever. Um, and chatting about it and seeing if you can relate, if any of this rings a bell for you. But I'm going to kick it off this week, if that's okay with you, Lou. Um, I had a
Sure.
uh, interesting weekend. Now, I'm not going to get into details about who it was. It was someone very close to me, who I care about. But we had a weekend and they did something that they shouldn't have. And so it was really interesting talking to who it was about the concept of allowing yourself to mess up. And I think you and Lou, you and I can relate in that we've stuffed up many times over the years and we'll probably stuff up again. But
Do you know
it's,
what? Yeah, we are all human.
mm,
So everyone should be able to relate to messing up.
yes, yes. And that's what I wanted to convey um, when I was talking to this person that you don't have to if if you don't make a really good decision, um, you don't have to demonize what you did, and you don't have to, really sit into the shame and guilt of it, allowing it to become a story. So part of the issue with what happened was, um, and again, it's a little bit hard without trying to share all the details, but um, they said to me, "Why do I always do this?" And I just really wanted to stop it right there because that's a story we create. Often we create these stories without even realizing. Um, but through your actions, you take on these stories and they become bigger than Ben Hur. And then it just forces you to sit in the shame and the guilt and I just didn't want that for my person.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. We can hold on, we can create a story. We can make that story even bigger than what it was in terms of being a victim.
Mm.
Um, as you tell the story each time, it can grow a little to make you feel or look like a victim, and that may be serving a purpose for you at the time of avoiding taking responsibility. But at the end of the day, that every time you tell that story, you think about it, you connect with it,
Mm.
you're connecting to that victimhood, or you're living in the past. So it's about dealing with the issue at hand, if that is responsibility and accountability,
Mm.
rather than sitting in victimhood and saying, oh, I did the wrong thing,
Mm.
whatever. We're human. We are
Yes.
all going to we make mistakes. But
Mm.
some of our greatest assets are when we fail and have those challenges in our life, we have the opportunity to grow and learn.
Yes. And along with messing up, it does, I think you touched on it a little bit, comes the aspect of self-responsibility in owning up to what you did. And this is where I think some people can get caught because there's a difference between acknowledging you did something wrong and actually owning up to it. And owning up to it, you will find that the charge behind what you did lessens it severely just by owning up to it, just by, and, you know, depending on what you did, there might be scenes where you have to apologize to a person and then sit with the fact that maybe they don't forgive you, you know? You
Hmm.
become the villain in their story, just like everyone on the planet is the villain in someone's story. Um, Unbelievably, Lou, you and I will be the villain in someone's story.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, but it's allowing yourself to be uh not perfect and to show up anyway
Yeah. Yeah.
and just
The the thing is that when we were talking about responsibility, if you sit in that victimhood and aren't able to be aware enough to simply let go of that resistance, because what you're actually doing is creating resistance, you know, through feeling guilty or shamed or whatever you're feeling. And that is actually creating resistance in you, in your energetic fields.
mm,
Now, if you take responsibility for that, then you have the opportunity of releasing that from yourself so that you don't carry that burden
yes,
into the future. You don't program your subconscious in a way so that you do that every time now moving forward.
mm,
So you want to be able to release that, not have that resistance in yourself, which,
mm,
you know, down the track, if you continue to behave like that, accumulate that sort of negative energy, that's going to have an impact on your physical body in terms of
exactly.
health in some means.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing that can happen is that, you know, you were talking, just saying that perhaps that person won't forgive you.
Mm,
And you may make a story up about not being not being forgiven.
mm,
You tried to apologize or whatever, and they wouldn't accept it, or maybe you're starting a story of, well, that person um, they wouldn't say sorry, and it's like, well, some people have a lot of difficulty saying sorry,
mm,
but if you look at their behavior, they actually may be apologizing in different ways. And if you're only going to accept an apology by means of a, a verbal interaction, yet the person is bending over backwards and doing things for you, doing things that are normally your chores, whatever, maybe that's their way of apologizing.
mm. How you show up isn't how everyone else shows up.
Yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
just back on what you were saying about the resistance and that. So one thing I was telling my person was because they said, why do I always do this? And I was pointing out how important it is that they clocked on to the pattern they had unintentionally started in their life. And I'm not saying don't go to therapy. I'm not saying any of that. Definitely do what you need to do to look after yourself. But you can only talk yourself out of it so much. What is going to happen is the universe is going to bring about another scenario, another thing for you to either go, yes, I always do that thing. I'm going to choose that same thing every time. I'm going to hate on myself more. I'm going to feel more guilt and shame. Or I'm going to flip the script and change it. And it's when you choose differently that you're rewriting the pattern.
Hmm.
And so just it's going to come around. And this can go across anything in your life. If you want to change what you're doing, Wait for it to come around and make the different decision. It might be a difficult decision, but you're going to feel better for it.
Yeah. I mean, for example, if you had a theme of betrayal
Mm,
happening, so, you may have betrayed yourself
mm,
or you may have been betrayed by someone else.
mm,
If you're sitting in that energy, if you haven't released that from your field and
mm.
you're still staying as a victim of that, then how the law of attraction works is that if you're sitting in the vibration of betrayal, you are going to attract more betrayal into
Mm.
your life.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, sorry. Um,
You're right.
someone's at the front.
Go for it. We just had an interruption. Sorry about that. And we've completely forgot where we were. But one thing I wanted to say was um, when you do mess up, I think where people trip up is, I'm saying guilt and shame, but whatever feeling comes up for you, oh, I always mess up, I always do this, whatever it is. I think me personally, I think it is a good point to feel the guilt and the shame or whatever's coming up. But where I think the nuance is people sink into it and they allow it to drown them and overtake everything in their life, and they don't see that it bleeds into aspects of their life. But want you more to look at guilt, shame as a guideline. It's telling you that you're not okay with how you're showing up. It's not telling you you're a bad person. It's telling you, hey, I think we need to do things a little bit differently. That's it. And I think it's important for people to not sink into it because it's sticky and
Yeah.
it's hard to get out of. And you'll be
Well,
looking for your shame in everything in your life. And you'll find it because you're looking for it.
mm,
Um,
I think what's happening is people actually attach to it
yeah.
and they identify with it. So if you're in that scenario, then you're going to be living your life from a place of that vibration of
Mm.
feeling shamed and guilty all the time.
And it just, you might feel guilt and shame, but what you don't see is it's sitting in your energetic vibration and it's altering things you can't see. And um, without getting too deep into it here, these things can bring about illnesses and disease. And so you're carrying a lot more around than just your mess up if you don't deal with it when it happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can go
And
on living, oh, sorry, go on.
and forgiveness is such a huge thing that can help release
Mm.
the blockages of
Yeah.
guilt and shame. And it's not just about people can say, well, work on forgiving the other person, but it's really, really important to be regularly checking in with yourself
Mm.
and asking if you're forgiving yourself
Depending on
when
what
you've
you
messed up.
do,
Mm,
you might never ever get a person's forgiveness. Never.
mm,
And you need to get okay, like at the beginning, with being the villain in their story and working on, so you'll never get their forgiveness. You need to work on yourself. Um, yeah.
you can't you cannot be responsible for or have any impact on how someone else thinks about you,
Mm,
but you can about what you think about yourself.
mm,
And when you have positive thoughts about yourself, you're going to attract. positive experiences. When you're having negative thoughts about yourself, you're creating those negative thoughts, and you're going to create a world of that's going to have negative experiences in it.
Yeah. The world is going to keep going on, and you can literally choose to not change anything. The world will go on, your life will go on. But do you really want to live a lukewarm life? You need to be willing to change how you show up. And it does not have to be drastic. Often when people think change, they think this really big thing. But if you want to see a change in your life physically, or even, if you're focused on the world at the moment, excuse me, and how the world is, and you want to change in the world, the quickest way to change anything is to change within. You change yourself within, you change your physical reality, you can show up for the world differently and be the change. But you're not going to do anything if you don't change what you're doing. And so to round this out, unless there's something more you want to say, Lou.
I think it's well noted that if you want to change, then often what you feel familiar with, you need to make unfamiliar. And what is unfamiliar, you need to make familiar.
Yeah.
And what you've got to understand, the way the brain works, is that even if what's familiar in terms of the way you react to something or behave, that's well programmed in you, and your subconscious mind knows how you're going to react. It knows, it can predict how you're going to behave. But if you go changing, it's unfamiliar, and it doesn't really know it can't predict your behavior. So it doesn't really like that pathway at first. And that's why people will often avoid it, because their familiar pathway, they've done it so many times, it's very predictable.
Even
And
if it's
that's why,
detrimental to themselves.
exactly. And it's like, no, even though it feels uncomfortable, stay with it, because you keep repeating it and you keep doing it, it will become familial, and then your mind is going to know that that's an okay path.
Yeah,
It can
beautifully
predict from
said.
it now. Yeah.
So just before we end, I want to put out an invitation. I am inviting anyone who's vibing with what we're saying or is ready to change. I'm inviting you to follow us on this path. I'm literally not asking you to show up in any sort of perfection. If you have any form of addiction, I'm not even asking you to quit anything. Bring it along, right? Show up imperfect for your life so you can change your reality and get to where you want to go. We're going to be talking about topics over the next couple of weeks that we feel are important. And also I'd say if you're triggered by this, you also should follow along, because I think it's needed. If you are getting triggered by anything we're saying, chances are you hold something in you that needs this medicine. And to be really honest with yourself and just join us, whether you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, come along. But along this path, we have created some visualizations to help you. We have our first pack out at the moment. It's our foundation pack. It's got 3 visualizations in it, and it's got union, letting go and forgiveness. So we have created a lot of other packs that we're trying to sort music out on. They will be out very, very shortly, but they are about different topics. And in each pack, so it's about a topic, and then there's individual threads of that topic that you can really lean into and see where. So we'll use betrayal. Where betrayal is showing up for you in your life, we have a visualization on betrayal that's going to come. Where is betrayal showing up in your life? And how are you interacting with betrayal? Because it's very easy to slip into the victimhood of things of they betrayed me, and someone may have done you really, really dirty. But in every scenario in your life, you have to take responsibility for the role you played in it. So how you are interacting with the things that are triggering you and all that. So our visualizations can help. The first pack's completely free. And I think we've got another one on YouTube, part of our another pack, our succession pack, but we'll talk about that later. But I invite you to come along with us because I think there are people that need this medicine. And if you're ready to step up, let's go.
Well said, Carly.
Perfect. All right. Well, we will see
Thank
you
you.
guys later. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.